Hello, my name is Bill Keach. I work for Sunbelt Computer Software, and today I'd like to discuss the changes to the IDE for 10.8, and of course some of the changes we'll discuss were made in previous versions, but I'd just like to point them out. Starting with the main screen here, you'll see that now you will see the program up in the list for all the executable labels. If you put an asterisk in there or start typing a label itself, you'll see all the labels. Clicking on the label now gives you the option to go to it, find it in files, or put it inside a peek window. Of course, as you start to type, we will continue to filter the execution labels. The tree view window, of course, has the integrated capability of doing Git. Down below in the various tabs that we have, you'll see that we now allow breakpoints, trace points, and watches to be preset before you start up the debugger. Looking down our menu items, you'll see there are a few new menu items, such as being able to open a file under FTP from an FTP server and save a file back to an FTP server. We of course have a new replace in files that allows somebody to actually take some sort of information they'd like to find and do replace across a program, the entire project, or perhaps inside a directory. This allows massive changes to be done, and of course we've also allowed a revision stamp to be put on all the changes to be marked. This allows easy refactoring of programs. Once we go into the options, you'll see that we have a couple of new options. We have the capability of putting commands in before a program gets built, such as copying things, moving things in. We have the capability of having post-build commands, including the capability of uploading, including the debug file, the compiled program, so that you can move it to a web server that you've set up an FTP site for, or you can move it, for example, to an application server. In the behavior, we've added the capability of setting up your revision stamp, and of course we have a new option for setting up FTP accounts, that you can add your own servers and FTP accounts, that we can move files or you can edit files from or to. All of these new features also have buttons up here as well. And of course we have the capability of viewing listings, where you can just select that if you happen to be somebody who likes producing listings. So now let's look at some of the things that we can do with the integrated debugger. And of course some of these features will also be available in SunDebug. One of the first things is that we can set up breakpoints, trace points, and watches before we even start the program. And these will be preserved through various debug sessions. So in this case, let's say we'll come down here and we'll say what we would like to do is we would like to set a watch on isGUI. And at the same time, let's set a breakpoint. Move one of the previous watches there, and we will set a breakpoint on this line as well. So we'll toggle the breakpoint. Now we'll go and run the program on the debugger. We'll start the execution. And here we hit our breakpoint, as we see. That was already pre-set up. And of course, we can take a look at our watch, saying that the value is 1. Another new feature is the capability of looking at properties of an object, changing properties of an object, and also setting up a trace point on a property of an object. So in this case, let's take a look at this checkbox. So we'll do a quick walk watch on the checkbox here. And we see we have all the properties laid out. In this case, let's end up coming down here and say, let's take a look at the value. There's no value set. And we can certainly add that to the watch now. And maybe what we would like to do is we would like to set up a trace point so we know when that value is going to change. So we'll come up here, we will say trace. Once again, let's trace the value, and when it changes we'd like to break. And we take a look. We're going to go and change the checkbox here, and there we break. And at the same time we can go take a look and see what the current value is. So let's go to watches, and there we go. We can see that the current value is 1 because we just ended up changing it. And of course our current theme, let's check that, add that to the watch, and our current theme is 4. As well as objects, we also have better capabilities for taking a look at records. As an example, let's take a look at this record here. When we watch it, we'll now see that all the various types of the record is, all the various members are shown, and that you can pick a member to take a look at it. When you go back, of course, we'll show all the various types again, which is a much easier way to access records. Finally, what happens is we'll go on to the next program, the master program here. So we'll just sign in. We'll bring up the master program by starting it up. And even though it's running, we'll come in here and we're going to go modify a property of the master program. So we're going to take a look at this button and we're going to change it, even though we're not in a breakpoint, from green solid into a green outline. So we will select and watch, come down here to button state. Right now it's saying it's default. Let's change it to an outline. Let's go update. We'll see that the button has now changed to be an outline. We can also do such things as, for example, if we wanted to enter text, we could go back to here. We could say, let's go to this edit button. Let's take a look at the properties of it. Next property. Let's add some text as putting in my name. Let's update. And then when we close and we go take a look, you'll see my name is now in the edit text. So this allows us to manipulate objects, properties, in real time. So let's shut this down. Now we're back in the IDE, and as you can see that the breakpoints and the watches have been preserved. So please give the new IDE a try, and if there are any features that you would like to see added to the IDE, please let us know. This has been Bill Keach for Sunbelt Computer Software saying have a good day.